sis.
I'm pretty sure he meant biscuits.
Back again.
Yes, sir.
Bruh. It's the first time. First time we delivering late biscuits, bruh.
Hey, listen, man. Late biscuits is better than no biscuits.
Right. Yeah, we still bring it for you. We got you. I make concessions for us early on Facebook. I put a post out saying that we had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I appreciate it.
Lynn's bedtime is kind of early.
I don't get it. My personal business. That's true.
Yeah, we went to record, man, and we ended up talking. The phone did before we even started recording, and that was it. That was a wrap. Lynn said we're coming back, and that was it.
Well, I had to let the phone charge, and while the phone was charging, listen, Chase, you don't know you sleep until you wake up. Let that marinate.
That's real. Hey, that can marinate in a bunch of different ways. Spiritually, all kind of.
Yeah. Sure enough.
Until you wake up.
There it is.
I dig that. That sounds like a T-shirt.
We got plenty of them.
I sure woke up over the past week.
Yeah.
Sure woke up. Anyway. So this week, man, our topic is near and dear to our hearts. And I ask this because we both spent some time underneath the tutelage in the households of some people who did not spare the rod.
No, sir.
They whooped ass. Yeah.
It was necessary. It still is.
They whooped ass. And they weren't playing either.
No.
At all. But with that being said, we gonna dive into a topic that's a little cliche. Not cliche, but it's very, I guess it's a sensitive, because there's a lot of people that don't believe in that, think you shouldn't do that. They think that all types of chastisation of any physical means to your child, which not theirs, is yours, is child abuse and stuff like that. However, there's a reason why that is also written in Scripture, and there's a reason why we support it, and why we don't have no problem with it. Right? We also want to differentiate, between what we believe is abuse and what is not. There's methods to the madness when it comes to this topic. There's reasons why we're doing these things or whatever, and it's for the future of our children. And same thing that it's the same principle as you would punish a child by taking something away that they like, or a timeout. Right? Some things may be grounds for a timeout, and some things do not. You know what I'm saying? So tell us how you feel about it, Lynn.
Hey, man, nobody, in regards to all the points you made and the validity of them, and I do agree with them. On the flip side of it, man, I respect everybody's opinion in terms of how they raise their children. They're your children. You do what you want to do, obviously, as it relates to what's best for them. Even on the outside, before I even understood the Scripture, man, about, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Mm-hmm. I believe that the truth is what God says. Whether I understand it, whether I agree with it, whether I like it. That's my position on it. And to someone who may have a different position, that's your position, but this is mine. So I knew even before I understood that Scripture that me being spanked was something, as I grew older, it's something that was beneficial to me and saved my life ultimately.
Saved my life. Absolutely.
There's no parent that takes joy and pride out of physically spanking their child. There are times that I've spanked my children, I had to chastise them, and I've cried myself. Like, I literally cried because I felt bad, but I understood the importance of it. And this is after, and just because you spank a child doesn't mean you're not talking to them before that. That doesn't mean that you haven't tried different things, like I'm going to take your phone away. That's sometimes, for me, that's the last result. Or depending on what you've done, it's the first result. I will spank your behind and I'll talk to you later. There was an incident that my son got so mad and he pulled the knife out. Okay, I'm beating the brakes off you. I left Walmart to go home and take care of that, and then I'll talk to you later about it.
Right.
That's an absolute no-no. So it depends on the thing and it depends on the person. But if you don't, I think that's part of it. I think it's a bigger issue than that too, Chase, because we are failing and doing an awful job at parenting.
Right.
We blame the generation, the children, but the problem starts with the lack of parenting. A child will learn what's being taught to them, whether by seeing, more so by seeing, I believe, and what's taught. You have to work to be kind. This old fairy tale about people saying, "Oh, we're born inherently kind and caring," that's bull crap. You can see a 8, 9, 10-month-old child being selfish, not wanting to share, cry when you take something from her or him that doesn't even belong to them. You'll see a 2-year-old push another 2-year-old for no reason. It's an inherently wrong that has to be right by teaching, and some teaching requires you putting hands on them. School was a lot better when principals were allowed to spank your children.
Right.
Kids are out of control because we're doing a terrible parenting job, trying to make too many concessions, trying to talk to them too much, trying to explain every single thing we do. Sometimes you're going to do it because I told you, and you'll understand it when you get older.
Yep.
You do it because I told you. I'm going to explain to you 5 or 10 minutes why you don't need to run across the highway like this. Son, don't run across that highway. You stay here. You go with daddy. I don't have time to teach you about this yet, but you'll figure it out older.
Right.
Every time you spank a child, the source of that spanking is for the betterment of that child.
Right.
It's not that we're getting pleasure out of it. I heard a dude tell me some of the most ridiculous things. And these are educated people who in my mind are absolute idiots. I like, this person's an idiot. Sometimes people say things so stupid to me, Chase, I can't even respond. I got to walk away.
Right.
Sometimes I have to question them again. Like, are you being serious? Like, it doesn't even register in my mind the level of stupidity and ineptness. I'm trying to comprehend this. One dude told me this. If you spank your daughter, you are telling her, in essence, that it's all right for a man to beat her.
You're out your damn mind.
I say, what? And what? I wanted him to repeat it again. I said, you say what? I had to walk away because the things that came in my mind. You ever seen Something About Mary before, Jay? Mm-hmm. And that was a scene in Something About Mary when the dude was picking up hitchhikers.
Right.
But the dude he picked up was a murderer, right?
Right.
And they thought, he had killed all these people. But in there, as he was being investigated, the dude was so upset by his response that he took his head and repeatedly slammed it back and forth on the desk.
That's
repeatedly. That's what I feel like doing to people who make dumb remarks like that. In my mind, I already played it out. I've taken your head and repeatedly beat it down on the desk. Right. So, man, people got different opinions and different approaches about it, man. I don't, and people are so one-sided. They say, if you spank your child, that means you're not for talking to them and explaining. No, I am for that. But some things you got to put your hands on them, and that's just the bottom line.
Right.
That's how I feel about it, and that ain't changing.
Sure. And there's, like, my grandmother was a samurai. She was a samurai from Baker County, Georgia. Her swords came from this tree that was outside. I don't know. I've yet to find out what kind of tree that was. But she killed the tree. It's dead because she pulled all the limbs off of it. It's dead.
We called them switches.
Yeah, they were switches. But this was a particular tree, though. I don't know. Whatever it was like, I played baseball all my life, right? They had this bat called a connection. And it was like cheating. So there was the handle of the bat, and then you had the barrel of the bat. In between the handle and the barrel was this flexible material, almost like a hard rubber. Right. Okay. But what it did was it added exponentially.
I know exactly what it does. Sure, because of the speed and the give and the.
It gave and actually made the head of the bat seem like a whip.
Yep.
That's the same thing the limbs on this tree did.
Was it a palmetto rod?
I need to look up that tree. Let me write that down.
Man, because I'm telling you, man, my mama, we made a song about getting my mama, boy, see, when you a black child, and maybe some Caucasian ones, they will send you to get the weapon they finna beat the brakes off with you.
Bro, my grandma was a little different. She picked one every day. Brand new, shined it up in the morning, and carried around in her duster.
Because she knew.
She knew what time it was. Me, not as much as my little brother. My little brother was terrible. So yeah,
so was mine.
She had to get after that fool.
So
she had to get after
was
him.
mine.
You couldn't tell him nothing. He had too much energy to listen.
That's my brother.
The only time he listened is when that thing came out. That katana came out, and she started throwing these little ninja stars at him. Whack, 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 whack. Then straight up. But it did save my life. In the same neighborhood that I grew up in, when I was getting them ass whoopings, I would be able to do things and run around with friends who did not get the same kind of chastisement and care that I got from my grandmother. And they didn't make it. They didn't make it to where I made it. Some did, but a lot didn't. Mm-hmm. They had a lot more freedom that they could not handle. They weren't mature enough to handle. They did not have the healthy fear that was instilled in them through them ass whoopings. Now,
Chase, how's that healthy fear any different from the healthy fear and the reverence that we have from God Almighty?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no difference. It's almost like a trickle down. Like it says, "Do not despise the chastening of the Lord, and do not despise the chastening of your grandma or your father, your parents, or anything else either."
He chastises the one he loves.
Yeah,
you love
exactly.
Love.
He chastises the one because he loves you, and that's the same reason why we do it for our children, because we love them, because we know what will happen if we don't. They don't, but we do. Like if you don't get this healthy fear, right, and get this understanding, I'm gonna have to show you something, because if I don't show you, something greater than me is gonna show you, and you may not survive that.
You may not survive it. Absolutely,
you may not survive it. And I'd rather you be afraid of me, right, and what'll happen in this household while you're under my watchful eye, than to have no restraint when you are an adult or are able to get a little bit of freedom and make certain choices in life or whatever, to be able to discern what's good for you and what's not, based on what I taught you, as opposed to going out there all just free, just doing whatever you want to do or whatever, and then the circumstances, they become too grave for your mind, and you thought you were invincible, and now you end up in prison, right? You end up killed, right? Or killed, dismembered, something like that. It mixed around with the wrong people. Like, I literally could befriend some people who were the wrong people and keep them at bay, because I knew I couldn't cross a line. Because if I cross that line and I go home, I don't want to endure that when I go home.
It used to mean something when the teacher would say, "I'm going to call your parents."
Ooh,
it used to mean something when, somebody would make a response like, "Your mom, I'm calling your dad." Like, that means something. That used to mean something. Now, that still means something in my house, because I'm not giving no idle threats.
No.
And the fact of the matter is, for me, I'm going to come through with this, even if I don't want to, because the reality of it is this. If you set the foundation right. And you start spanking they behind. I'm talking about I will spank a kid as early as I give them 2 little fingers, pop, little quick. Yep. That's a no-no. I'm talking about before they're a year old. People are crazy to believe that a kid don't know right and wrong before a year old. But you can. It's proven you can teach them how to swim and float. But you can't teach them the difference between right and wrong. No. Just like floating and swimming will save your life. Just with me teaching you. You trying to grab a hot stove. I pop your hand. No, stop. That can literally save you from a lot of hurt, harm, and turmoil. And we're just not doing that, man. We're not doing it. It's all right for a police officer to shoot and kill my child.
Right.
But it's wrong for me to spank my child.
Yeah, that's correct.
But I can't spank my child.
Right.
Listen, when I was coming up, if you were afraid, Chase, there are times, me and my brothers and sisters, we felt like we had it so bad we wanted to run away. Chase, we were afraid to run away.
But you can't hide.
Afraid to run away. I remember my mama, we were coming up, if you utter it out of your mouth, you're going to call protective care. Oh, my God. The way I see these children talk to their parents today, and I used to think, I'll be perfectly honest with you, man, I used to think this was a Caucasian thing.
Right.
Oh, no. This has transcended all races. We are doing an egregious, awful job raising kids countrywide. Now, I'll be honest with you. The majority of the country ain't playing these games with their children. They just come over here and act a plumb fool because all of the foolishness and the lack of parenting. We are to blame for this, Chase.
Right.
We want to be more concerned about being friends with our children. You're not giving them structure or teaching them. I've seen over and over again kids yelling, pulling away from their parents, falling out, crying. I heard one kid, I was in Sam's Club. The kid was so loud, the entire store heard the child. I stopped shopping and wanted to see what is all this foolishness. When I arrived, that's a child no more than 3 years old, screaming, fighting his mom, telling her what he's not going to do, and she's just looking exhausted and bewildered. And I'm saying to myself, right in Sam's Club, I would have been able to take the hate from the people. I would have slapped them so hard. You hear me? Sometimes you got to hit a child in the throat.
Chop in the throat.
So you know I'm not playing with you. Listen to me. I would damn near kill you if you carry on like this.
Right.
I'm not saying to abuse a child, but you got to let a child know you're not playing.
It's the healthy fear.
I would hit pets and all. My Bam Bam, I don't have to touch him anymore. He listens. Everybody asking me crazy. Why does Bam Bam listen to you? Because I done hit Bam Bam before. And we'll hit him again.
He don't speak English.
But he understands this.
Yeah.
If a dog can understand this, then I know doggone well a human being can.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I learned that also, and to define the differences, though, the differences between the child abuse and the chastisement of a spanking is the fact that you do not, like we said earlier, that you do not get enjoyment from it. I'd rather not do this. I don't want to do this.
No.
Right? The thing is, when you are utilizing a child in the opportunity to teach a child something in a whooping or whatever you want to call it, or spanking, and you are relieving yourself and your own issues on the child. It's making you feel better, right? You
need your butt whooped too,
right? A sense of dominance or something like that.
No, that's
and it's making you. It's stroking your ego by doing that because of someone that's weaker than you, right?
That's a problem.
No, I have never ever spanked my daughter or my son or whatever and wanted or liked doing it at all. Like you said, have shed tears afterwards. I'm not gonna let them see it.
No,
right? But my aunt told me that when I was very young, because you and I both became fathers at 19. I probably was about 20 maybe, and I was sitting in her kitchen, and I never knew this because I thought they were just wheeling and dealing, her and my grandma. I thought they were just, hey, tag me in, let's get it.
They're passing these things out.
Right, that's what it felt like. You know,
sure.
Even though when I was young, enduring some of those whoopings, and some I'll never forget.
I remember some.
Yeah, and some you'll never forget. And, right, and you remember why he did it and everything. But that was it was perfect. What I did was that crazy that I got that kind of ass whooping, and I won't forget not to do that again. And this is when I was 5 and 6 and 7 years old. Mm-hmm. I never forget that. And I've probably never done it again. But she told me that there's a method to the madness when it comes to doing this. She gave me instruction on how to discipline my daughter. She loved my daughter to death, right? Mm-hmm. Almost more than anything, right? She didn't want to see her get chastised, but she knew I had to do it. She knew, even as a young man, I would be a good father. She knew it in me. She told me that, and that was one of the best things she ever told me. She did me some of the biggest favors anybody's ever done in my life. Like, my daughter was born, my aunt went with me. It was just me and my aunt, right? I was 19, I didn't know what I was doing, scared to death. And she
trust me, I know it.
You know what I'm saying? And she knew that, though, from the get. So she was like, when you discipline her, she knew it was going to come, because she's going to have to be disciplined, is you cannot do it when you're angry.
No, don't do that.
You cannot do it when you're angry.
I learned that a little bit too late. That's a very valid. Don't do that.
It has to wait.
Step away.
You have to step away. You have to analyze.
Yeah, step away.
And then, but you have to do it.
No, you have to do it. Yeah, but you have to step away.
Exactly. And that's hard, because once you step away and you do calm down, now you don't want to anymore, because
you don't want to do it.
And I love my child, but I have to do it.
Have to do it.
And you also have to understand that once it's over and all the smoke clears, you got to go back to the why.
Yeah, you can explain it to them after a while. Yeah,
you have to go back to why.
There's a way to do it.
Right. And then I think it progresses. It progresses as a child gets older until they get the foundation enough to where they have enough restraint and understanding of how we operate in this household that I don't have to do anymore. My daughter's there now. My daughter has been disciplined enough to where she may make mistakes, which I'm okay with that, but she's not going to do some of the demonstrative things or whatever to her character or anything like that. Once she got probably till about, she might probably like 6 years old. Like, my son now is so young that he has no idea what he's doing. He's just a little 4-year-old ball of fire. So he's getting spankings on stuff that, like, he don't even.
And typically, and typically dudes will get spankings longer than girls.
Yeah, my son's out. I'm gonna be whooping his behind. He about 4. He's crazy. But with my daughter, I got the wherewithal to take it because I didn't want her to be afraid to make mistakes.
No,
because that leads to hiding your mistakes or hiding the whatever, learning, growing. I didn't want to do that. You can make mistakes in my house. I'd rather you make a mistake in my house while it's here instead of out there. So everything's a mistake aside from 5 things, which is disrespect, yourself or others, especially adults, lying, your grades, slothfulness, just
oh my God, trying to tell you,
embarrassing me. Because you know the foundation. You know how to conduct yourself.
You better believe it.
Even when I'm not around. Do not embarrass me.
Those 5 things in my household, Chase, are automatically me putting my hands on you. And sometimes I will put my hands on you where you are acting a fool. Like, I'm a little bit different because I'm so old school in this sense. I am willing to get interrogated by a police officer. If that's what's going to happen. You know, if that's the worst going to happen, I'm going to smack the taste out of your mouth in Sam's Club here. Right. And somebody going to probably call the police by the time we get from out of here. And I'm willing to deal with that.
Right.
And I'll tell, and most times police officers with enough sense and children will be like, they'll talk to them and be like, listen, I understand what you did. Try not to do it in front of somebody. Right. Because, you know, the reality is, Chase.
They know what time it is, too.
They do know. Listen, I know some parents, I've heard this more than once, who have told me, and they're serious, that they were afraid of their children.
Man,
it doesn't even come. You say what? Afraid?
You think I'm not gonna have
in my house?
A child?
I'm afraid in my house of a child, and that's because they've done. I've said this to people straight face with their kids who are adults now. I said you've done an awful, terrible job raising your children. I told them straight to their face, and every person I've told that to, and I didn't mean to be pointing fingers like I'm so great at it, because I'm not. And I still have things to learn, but I at least know the foundation. Everyone said, you know, you're right. You're right. This child has not been exposed to enough. I've guarded them too much. Now they're spoiled. Sometimes you don't tell your kid the truth. We have a generation of this foolishness. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody getting trophies. No, everybody ain't getting no trophy. You garbage. You suck. Right. And everybody ain't winning. Your team, we're not taking scores. We have a generation, dude, of weak. Think about this, Chase. How many children, and it's sad, are killing themselves because they're not being prepared properly mentally from their parents at home? You know, how many kids now? Think about it. I never remember hearing about a shooting at a school or these kids putting their hands on these teachers like the way I see them do, and the blatant disrespect when you were spanking kids in school.
Yeah.
Like this one, I couldn't imagine being a teacher. My heart goes out to the teachers. Because if a child, Chase, put his hand on me, I'm fired. I'm going to mop the floor with this damn boy. And then they will sit there and say, this boy 15, 16 years old, he put his hand on me, and now his mom on the news telling me I shouldn't have handled him that way. Your son got the brakes beat off him because you ain't do a damn job with him when he was coming out.
Right.
And now I'm in trouble. This is what we living in, man. This is it's disgusting.
Right. He thought he was a man. And you probably,
he going to learn quick.
He was a man. And he stepped up to a man.
You want to know something? Mm-hmm. In my opinion, the most dangerous people on the planet Earth, in my opinion now, they range from the age of about 14 to about 25 to 26 years old, man.
Probably right.
That I am concerned about these people. Mm-hmm. Because these cats are the ones who are acting a fool, don't have the wherewithal. And a lot of the blame on this too now is because also some parenting, the dudes are doing a terrible job. We spoke about this in the show, with being a damn father to their children, right, and make every dog an excuse. My baby mama won't let. No, you don't. You can't see that child. You scared to pay the price to see it. If I got to be on child support to see my child, then that's just what it's gonna be.
Bro, ain't no devil in hell, bro. I don't care.
I mean, hey, listen, listen, I'm with you. I don't know nothing about it either.
Bro,
but
I've been real.
I was 19 years old, man, just like you.
Yeah, I think I've been real, like, straight up about the parenting of my children or whatever. Their mother's a great mother, and I'm thankful for that. But there's nobody that can do it like me. Like, I'm gonna do what your mama won't do, or what she can't do. You know what I'm saying?
In what capacity?
Meaning that, meaning that I love you, but me being nurturing to you will not overshadow me preparing you.
Oh, well, see, that's why. No, sure. That's why it's a beautiful thing. That's why I think the Lord did it. That's why He gives mothers for that, because they need the nurturing. Sometimes I'm too hard. In fact, I was yesterday. Prime example. We're having a conversation, and my kid Isaiah came or whatever, and he was like, "I'm hungry." And Micah had come before, and I said, "Micah," because they love to say they're hungry, but there's food in the house. They just won't make it, and they'll say they don't like it, but they just don't want that food. And I'm like, I'm from the old school, and my wife's a little bit different. I said, "Well, listen, son, can I have pizza?" Is what he had. I said, "Well, Micah, you have money. You can have pizza when we get home as long as you're buying it." And he said, "Cool," or whatever. But we were still having a conversation. Then Isaiah comes out. "I'm hungry." And I said, "Listen, man, if you hungry, do you have any money?" "No." "Okay, well then you better find you something to eat. Get from around me." That's exactly what I told him.
Because it's food, it's all through the house.
Not only is food here, I just gave you money yesterday, man.
And bro, I've been
I just gave you money.
Everywhere in your house, bro.
Well, yes, it is. And had gross because they eating it all. And I'm like, listen, like, I can't, like, and you have money. Like, don't come to me with this. And then I had to say, you know what? He's behaving like this partially because we've made concessions for him for so long. If you want pizza, okay, let's have pizza. Because sometimes pizza is just easier. But what kind of values am I teaching them? No, you're old enough to get your own food. Leave me alone. In fact, you're old enough to feed yourself and your two brothers. It's enough stuff where you can do it. You've been taught this. Isaiah was ironing at 5 years old. Like, so you can teach these kids but it goes back to what we are doing as parenting, and also with the point you made about the balance. My wife said, well, there's a certain way you could have told him. I'm just straightforward like that. She brings the nurturing. As long as the point is being across, it doesn't matter to me how it gets there. It could be soft. It could be hard. It's probably better soft. Some things are better soft. And that's where the nurturing comes in from a mother. That's where the balance is better for the both of us to do it as long as we're on the same page. What happens, Chase? Let me hit you with this question, because this happened to me. What happens when you got two parents? One's about spanking and one is not about spanking.
Man, that's unequally yoked. That shouldn't have got together in the first place.
But that's a thing that happens all the time. How do you respond to it?
Man, that's a good question, man.
Let me give you my input. I kind of dealt with it like this. My daughter's mom had a problem. I'm not saying that they wouldn't spank, but they very rarely did. I remember saying this to my daughter's mom before my daughter was born. We had a conversation. I said, I'm going to have to spank her. I knew I'm going to have to spank her. And she said, you don't need to spank her. And I'm like, okay, but I am. Like, I even at 19, I knew that was something that had to be done. As it worked out for me, I cannot. Now, my daughter has been hit by her mom before, but God knows it pales in comparison to how many times I've done it and the willingness for me to do it. Right. Not that I take joy in it at all. With that being said, I think it was for us, because the question was supposed, how do you respond to that? I think you got to respect both parties. Yeah. If you don't want to spank her, then you want to talk and explain things to her, you keep doing that. But when she's with me, I cannot have a problem with that, but also respect me where I'm going to spank her. Because now if you see me abusing her, it's different. But in some kids, I will say this too, Chase, some kids you only have to spank maybe once or not at all, and they'll get it.
Yeah.
There's some kids who will not respond to anything except you've done timeouts, you've taken cell phones, right. You've gone through the ladder of things. And only way they're going to respond is me taking my hand and putting it on you. Right. You respond to that. And anybody who says that teaches them violence, you are absolutely, I'll say, ignorant to reality and furthest away from the truth. Because I'll do this, man. There's nothing. You won't spank your child because you said it teaches them violence. Let me tell you about the hypocrisy. But you will let them play violent shooting games for 8 to 9 hours a day. Right. And you telling me that ain't teaching violence? Come on, bro, get a grip, grow up.
Right. Because it comes back to okay, I'm reinforcing teaching my children nonviolence. Like, you don't mess with nobody's kids, man. or whatever.
No,
Now, somebody messing with you, you don't let somebody disrespect you or whatever. If it's an adult that disrespects you or whatever,
I handle it.
It may be difficult for you, but you respect that adult, and you come tell me and watch me turn into a freaking animal.
Well, you shut your mouth and calm yourself down and let an adult handle it.
And I promise, when you come to me or whatever, you'll see that daddy got your back for sure. Like, you don't mess with my kids.
If you're right.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if an adult disrespected you, belittled you, degraded you or something like that or whatever,
no, that's not gonna work.
I put my hands on them too.
Well, I would try not to, but I know.
I can't restrain that. Like, you, my children, belittling my children, I don't know. Keep me away from it. I'm gonna need some.
No, Chase, that's gives to, I don't know, and That's why I don't understand a lot of people. What kind of person think another man or woman gonna let you just do their child any kind of way and not respond?
Right.
Like, what kind of person?
Now, another thing is that it's also from the old school. Is back in the day, and I probably was like the generation where this kind of like started to fade because this never happened to me. It was threatened. And I knew that some of my grandma's neighbors was dead serious.
I think I know where you're going, but bring it on home, I think.
Oh yeah. Yo, neighbors will whoop your ass too.
Oh no, and I think that should have been.
But it was almost like a non-verbal agreement because they knew that they all had similar values. Mm-hmm. So that if the lady across the street, Miss Ruth, put her hand on your ass, you deserved it. She'd have done it because she did it because I.
Sometimes you get two whoopings.
Yeah.
You gonna take it? Now I'm gonna beat you when you get off.
Me. Now you got double the 5 things. now you got double.
Yeah, that happens.
But then once that happens, right? And the thing about a whooping, man, and what people understand, like a real whooping, it only hurts for like 5 minutes, and it's over.
The anticipation of the whooping is way worse than the whooping.
Way worse. The whooping's over in like a minute, and it don't hurt no more in like 5. I'm not putting whips on my children, nothing like that. My children, if you look at my children, you can tell my children are well kept and well taken care of. Mm-hmm. Right? You won't find bruises or nothing on my kids, right? But they get ass whoopings.
Well, hold on, Chase. Now, I'm with you on that, but see, in your boy's foot, now I will be remiss if I was not honest and keeping 100 on this show, because I do.
Mm-hmm. Keep on.
Anybody who knows me knows how I feel about my children, but to say that there will be no welt on my child, well, that I can't honestly say that, because my son is bigger than I am now. Like my daughter obviously I'm gonna be 19 years old. I ain't spanking my daughter. Like, it ain't happening. She's a grown woman. Yeah. I talk to her, and the best teacher for her is the thing she's been taught in life. Right. And I realize it. Now, I will say this. Yeah, that's what I would not allow my daughter to disrespect me. Mm-mm. I don't give a doggone how old she is. That's gonna be a problem. Now, my son, I very rarely spank my son too. He's getting older. Isaiah, my oldest one. The reality is I very rarely spank any of them because I've already set the standard, and that's the point. I can say something, and my word means something. Now, my son, as it relates to Wells, if my son get out of line, I can't be putting him on my lap. He's bigger than I am. Right. He may get a forearm to his damn thoracic cavity and maybe a little short of breath, and it may be a little bruise. I ain't going to kill him, but he going to think I'm going to kill him. He think I'm trying to kill him for a moment, and then we'll shake it off. I told my son this one time, listen, bro, he was talking crazy, disrespectful to my old lady, and I grabbed him so fast, I told him, I'm going to put your dang on head through this wall, and I'm going to wake you up after you come to, and then you going to help me fix it.
I really told me that.
And I was dead serious. So there may be welts and other things on my child.
That's something that, I guess I say that because I haven't gotten there yet.
No, they're not old enough yet.
They're not old enough. My son's 4.
Yeah, he's only 4. Hopefully you won't have to get there.
And that's also something, there's another lesson there too, and we talked about that too. We might as well say it on the show, that when it came to him disrespecting his mother and talking crazy to his mother, he was old enough and man enough to get to a line, a barrier, a boundary that he had never gotten to before with you. There will be a separation between her being your mother and her being my wife.
You absolutely right. She was my old lady before she was your mama.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you acting like somebody I don't know, right, and don't understand that our relationship or whatever has the two of us and God gave you life, and the reason why you here. If you can't understand that and you just doing negate that or neglect it or neglect to have respect for it, well, now I gotta treat you like a dude who disrespected my wife and I don't know him. Well,
just so the difference is I can treat you like that for a moment and I can stop myself because I do know you. Whereas another dude, there's no restraint. But the reality is my son has been taught, well, I don't believe he'll ever do anything physically to try to hurt his mom. Mm-hmm. But he will go back and forth with his mama because he's getting older and dudes do that, especially to their moms. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, as my son is strong enough, he's literally strong enough to grab my wife and hold her where she cannot move. Mm-hmm. Like he can stop her, put her under arrest, and make her not move. He can do that. He's strong enough.
That's a fight she can't win.
She can't win. He's a young man. He's a strong young man. But let me tell you something, Chase. Chase. Boy, Chase. Yeah. But I thank God, based on what we were saying, the foundation has been set through me properly chastising my son, spanking him, doing it where he won't do that. Because, Chase, he knows my kids have a good life. You've been to the house where they have a good. I was raised different in the slums. We spoke about it. I wouldn't change for the world. I got such. There's a ways about me, and I'm not bragging about that my son would never see. I can get so upset, and I give God the glory for taking that lot away from me. Well, I don't even think about the consequences of my actions. I don't think about my career. I don't think about my faith. I don't think about incarceration. I don't think about money. And that's not good. That's not good. I trust me, I'm not celebrating that. I thank God for taking that away from me. My son, I'm not sure if he wants to see that side or anybody. I don't want to see it. But if he put his hand, Chase, there are kids who will beat their mom, man. Like there are women, like people who are afraid to go to sleep in the house with their children. Like you have to spank these kids and let them learn. Let me tell you, we came with a slogan: beating somebody behind will save your life. There are a bunch of dudes who are dead right now, mm-hmm. who had they been chastised and spanked properly, mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly believe would still be alive today. Right. Would still be alive today. Right. You want to talk to them and explain. I ain't got time to explain no damn 5 minutes to no 3-year-old. I'm explaining to you with sign language. Me taking my hand, because that's what the sign with, smacking you repeatedly on your behind until you get it. Language. Sign language.
There's never, especially with boys, but girls too, man, there's never too early to start with just learning what chivalry is. Not because anyone deserves it. It's because you deserve it.
Yeah.
We went to church on Sunday, and my daughter was walking behind me, and I told my son to open the door for her.
Sure.
He's 4 years old.
Absolutely.
This is just what you do. I don't care who she is or what she did. This is what you do. It's not for her. It's for you.
Absolutely.
Right? You have to understand that. It's never too early.
No.
Right? The same thing with Isaiah, and he did it in that situation or whatever. Now he can discern, understand. He may not totally now, but one day, God willing, he'll have his own wife, and you'll understand what I mean.
Oh, he understands right now, and he'll understand it better as he gets his own wife and his own family.
Exactly.
He will absolutely understand it.
Right.
And I'll be right there to have him, like, son, if you don't have, and that's also about because you're never too old to be parent. My father still parent me some things. You know, sometimes you'll be like, son, you better have some. I have seen, and this is how far we've gotten away from the foundation, bro. I have seen some elders, some old family members, whether grandma, older aunts, uncles, and I'm not saying specifically in my family, but I have in my family before too, and other families too, where they'll tell you, listen, this baby is misbehaving, this baby's bad. You need to spank this kid. And I've seen the parent, you 20 years old, think you know everything. You 19, then got mad at the aunties and the uncles for telling you what's right with this child. Right. This child is a heathen. If anybody, I want to say this here. If anybody have a problem with spanking your children, right, don't ever bring your kids to my house or to where I'm going to be at, because I do not tolerate it. If your kid's in my house tearing up and you won't spank them, before I put you and your child out, and I've done that, I will hit your kid on the way out because you won't do it. And that's just the reality of it. So for everybody to know. And my intentions are good. I don't want to put my hands on you. I know that this girl is a problem, and this needs to be rectified. Just imagine, even on the flip side of it, right? If Christ did not chastise us or make us aware. Everybody want to have this false lie like everybody's good and naturally kind. That's bull crap. You're disgusting human beings, and most of us are. All of us are. And the reason I know this is because the Bible says, and I told you that's what I base the truth on, because God is the truth, the way and the life. And he said that the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? So don't come here with your foolishness, making me feel like you're so good and making me think you're terrible, and so am I. That's why we need an atonement. That's why we need God. That's why we need Jesus Christ. Same as with these children. These children are terrible, awful, horrendous, horrific. Teach them the right way.
Right.
I told my son this one time. If you fail yourself in life, if you don't graduate college, if you get locked up, you don't make it, I can rest comfortably. Not that I'm happy with it's going to bother me, but I can accept that fact knowing I did everything that I could as a father to teach you values, to teach you what's right, and give you the best chance to make it in this despicable, dogmatic, hard, unfair, unjust world, especially as it relates to a black man in this doggone country. That's the bottom line. And I don't care who likes that or not either. That's the truth, too.
I agree with that. And another thing I want to say is that it also helps with influence, right? There are going to be so many influences, especially like, as I say, going into high school, my daughter's going to middle school, the opportunity to be influenced by, negative people who didn't have the same upbringing as you, social media, internet, all that stuff or whatever. So many opportunities to be influenced by so many things, but that ass whooping, it'll keep you at bay. Even though it may be influential and you may be around it or whatever, the small things, even like the yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir stuff or whatever, it means that in here, if I catch that you're not doing that out there,
it's a problem.
It's a problem. So when you're around your friends who don't do that and weren't raised like that, you will have enough confidence and self-awareness to say, I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do or how y'all do it or what you were taught. This is how I have to do it. Because that ass whooping is going to be mine to bear, not yours.
Oh, absolutely. And you can rest assured it's coming. My dad, like I told you, my son, I didn't notice I grabbed his phone one day. He has me under his phone, not under dad. I'm not saying it's like it's a badge of honor. It's the level of respect he has for me. And I have a lot of fun with my kids, too, because I can have a balance. You don't have to have you have to be a tyrant or a dictator all the time. It's only small time you have to do that. You just have to do it. He has me under boss man.
Right.
And that's just the way he's a level of respect because that's been instilled for him. My son has a very good relationship with me. We're very cool. We joke all the time, and so do I. But he knows when things are serious. It is a terrible thing how I just think back, Chase, to how far we've gotten from the foundation. My kids can't answer an adult or nobody in this house what.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? I'm like, Isaiah, come here. What? Wait a minute.
Who?
Son, who are you talking to, son? Like, we've gotten so far away, kids can say what, not answer at all. They can do whatever. That's a problem in this house. We don't do that. That was a problem. We couldn't even call our brothers and sisters names without getting our butt spanked. You could do it, but no, you're getting your butt spanked. That's the same as the old foundation has been lost. And then we look at the newer generation and blame them like they're awful and terrible. When the reality, and they are awful and terrible, the reality is we have dropped the ball. We are the ones to blame as it relates to parenting these doggone kids.
Millennials the millennials are your children.
Yeah, because you're a sorry parent.
They grew up in your house.
Yeah.
It's your child is the millennial that you're talking about. Right, so like you're blaming yourself. You can say that all you want to, but it's your fault. Every time you say it, millennial, you're bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are some kids. Now, listen, there are some kids you can do everything. You can spank them. You can do everything. They just awful kids.
There's always exceptions to the rule.
That's all. And I want to be clear about because people be like, well, every child don't. You can spank them and you can do whatever. They still awful. Yes, that's true. But that's a rarity. Most times, and here's the thing about spanking your kids. If you spank your kids consistently and from the beginning, you really don't have to spank them that much, usually after around 10 years old. You can usually tell them and they'll just do it. Every once in a while, you may have to remind them by putting your hands on them, but very rarely do you have to do that. Right. Very rarely do you have to do it. Here's another side note for me. I thought about this here. And it's going to be controversial, but that's fine. This whole show could be in it, but it's the truth, man. The way you describe our brother, your brother, where you say, and my brother, because my brother was all hype and this and that and the other, and just he got more whoopings because spankings, he deserved them. They would have diagnosed my
Yes.
brother with
I was about to get
with what it's called
ADHD or something.
ADHD or AD, whatever it's called. I don't know the name. They would have, when they running around and stuff like that. They would have labeled my brother that, and people accept that foolishness. I teach this all the time. There's power and there's life and death in the power of your tongue. You don't have to accept everything they say about your kid. My brother is a successful store manager, not a department manager, an entire store manager running an entire business. I mean, Walmart. You know, and I thank God for that. You don't have to. He didn't accept those labels. My mom did not say that baby had a problem sitting down. You know what I mean? She put him on no doggone medication. She spanked his behind when he needed. Sit your butt down, and she trained him, and it taught him. We label our kids. We accept what everybody else say about them. We want to get checks for them because we are too damn lazy to work, and then we want to just put them on medication. Now your son lethargic. It's normal for a child to want to run around. Take him swimming.
Right.
Put him in some sports. Do something with him.
They need restraint.
And then teach him restraint. You don't need to be drugged up. I had to say that because I feel like we'll be remiss. That ain't good. People doing
agree,
it, boy.
Man. A lot of these kids do not need a diagnosis. They don't need
They don't need it.
Like,
they don't need it. They need love and discipline. Come on, man. And here's the thing.
Missing an ass whooping. That's all it was.
This how terrible this thing is. Adults got to take it. You are a full-grown adult, and you got to take something to make you sit your tail down.
To sit down.
You can't control yourself to sit down, or I'm just too hyper. The problem is your mama done gave you that label. Mm-hmm. You've accepted it, and now you've got that same thing you're dealing with that you did with a child as an adult.
Right.
And some people are the exception. Some people just like to do drugs.
That's true.
They fake like they got a problem. They just like to do drugs. This ain't what I heard. This is what I see.
I don't have a problem. I just like
you'll be better off just saying it. You like drugs. Okay. I mean, I'm not judging. Maybe the Lord help you with it. But yeah, that's a point that need to be brought up. A lot of these things, man, just chastising your kid and doing what you're supposed to do. There's, like you spoke about, I'm glad you brought up this point. There's a way to do it.
Right.
You know, I made the mistake, and I'll be honest, where I've hit my kids and I was too upset. Mm-hmm. And that's some reason why I cried, and I was wrong for that. I should have been taught that, and maybe I was, but I didn't. And I won't hit them when they're upset now. I've learned years ago. I got to let me walk away from this child before I kill him, and then let me assess the situation. And there's sometimes, don't think I just spank my kid. There's sometimes my kids do something wrong, and I'll say to them, "Why did you do that?" I want to know what's your mind. Why did you not listen? And they'll say to me, "I don't know why I did that." And I'll say to them, "Okay. Just don't do it again. And we're finished. I'm not taking anything from you. It's over. I'm just letting you run." Because you know how many things I've done as an adult that I have no clue why I did it?
Right.
I'm like, I'm a full-grown man, and I don't even know why. I knew it was wrong. I knew I could get in trouble for it, yet I still did it, and I can't tell you why.
Bro, so you know, people don't understand, man. It's nothing but Christ, and I'm still new to this. You know what I mean? You've been into the word or whatever for a while, and I'm
for a long time
over the last year, and things have changed in my life tremendously because the full-grown fool inside of me, man.
Oh God, yeah. Hey, listen,
full-grown fool, man.
I'm a pastor, and there's still one inside of me,
bro.
That's why I gravitate so close to the Lord,
right?
Because I know I need Him, and I know I'm terrible.
And I've recently, over the past week, come to understand that how you can discern what He means by making your enemies your footstool.
He'll do that.
Even the ones that you never thought were your enemies.
Yeah.
Like, the person who only wants to see that fool come out and will provoke the fool to come out is definitely an enemy. That is not a friend to you.
No, they ain't my friend.
No, you want to see the fool.
Yeah, that ain't good. I don't even want to see him.
Out, man, because you want to see him come out.
But then when he come out, you act like you can't have.
Yeah, no matter what, you want to see him come out. You just want to see if that's still in me. And you don't have to see. I'll tell you. Yes. That fool's still in here, yeah. But when he get out, and he's been under restraint, he gonna tear something up, man.
I thank God that he's got restraint. Listen to me. I've been at my job, and I'm being honest. I've told officers certain things, and patients, well, I know I should have been fired. And you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But you know, I was ready, and I wasn't just not selling no wolf tickets. I had said it. And like Trick Daddy, I meant it. Mm-hmm. And I was willing and ready to go through with everything I said had not somebody grabbed me and stopped me. You know what I mean? And I thank God for that. But, you know, it goes back, you know, to what we said in terms of, what we said about the way we was raised. I have made some terrible mistakes like that and overreacted, got upset. But by the grace of God and the way I've been brought up in the spankings, I'm willing to admit my wrong. What's this deal with so many dudes got a problem admitting they wrong? Bro, and some women too, but a lot of dudes, because I probably, if you wrong, it don't take you all day to admit you was wrong. You know you wrong.
It does not.
Apologize and do better from that. I was wrong for that. I handled that wrong. You know, and move and don't do it again. Like, come on, man, grow up.
It's a sense of freedom,
grow up,
man. Like when you done somebody wrong, or something wrong, or whatever, man. Own up to your stuff or whatever, and that's the first step of you moving forward.
Yes.
Like whatever you done, you can't undo it.
No.
But if you're gonna try to act like it, or try to dumb it down like it wasn't as big of a deal or something like that, or
I can't stand that, Chase.
I can't make some kind of
all concession. Yeah, concessions. Oh, it pisses. Instead of just taking ownership.
Like, look.
Oh, I can't stand
I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Right. Period. I'm gonna do everything I can not to do that again.
Absolutely.
Right. Changing is an apology. That's how I change. I can't undo it, but I won't do that no more. I promise you. That ain't gonna happen again. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that don't happen.
Learn from that. Right. Learn from that. And, that's huge.
One thing I want to end the show on, I left it to the end because we talked about his ass and stuff like that. And people need to understand that, yes, we're talking about spanking our children and chastising our children. And it was the perfect timing, right? Over the past week, I watched my daughter graduate from elementary school, going into middle school, and she's in the gifted program, and she got a presidential award that I didn't even know existed. It's signed by the president. What I wanted was a principal's honor roll. That's what I always want. That's why I go in there for.
See, that's again, it was always, I tell you, boy, when I say, I'm sorry to cut you off, not to get, we are totally different. I got honor roll quite a few times, but I never aspired to get a principal. I never aspired to get any honor roll. I just wanted to get the heck up out of school.
Get up out of here. Well, no, I didn't want it. I mean, I've gotten it when I was like younger and stuff, but I mean, I wanted it for her.
Oh, I understand. Okay,
when we talk in terms of certificates or whatever, or accolades, I wanted her. So she got that. She got the presidential award. She got another one for writing. She got one for being a safety patrol. She got a citizenship award and some other stuff.
Awesome, man.
Bro, and but the thing is, I've watched this little girl who's been chastised by me and her mother and family members, who has grown up the way I'm talking about or whatever. I'm talking about walk through elementary school, bro. She's been in gifted classes and she does homework like while the teacher's teaching it.
Yeah,
like she doesn't need help with anything. I may have helped her with 3 or 4 projects her whole elementary school career. She gets everything. She's like, you know what I mean? So that little girl, my son or whatever, finished pre-K early. He's 4. He has to actually do it again because he's not 5. Gonna be 5 until the end of October. So he has to do it again. But his teacher said that he is scholastically ready to go to 1st grade. Behaviorally, maybe not. Because we're crazy.
Tell me about it.
But scholastic, yeah, ready to go. My nephew graduated yesterday from pre-K, valedictorian in pre-K. Now, I don't know what he had to do to become valedictorian, but I don't care. I know there's a bunch of other little kids that didn't get it, and he did.
Let me tell you, hey, listen here, I had some very intelligent kids, and I still have them. None of them ever got that. I can tell you that.
And I saw your post or whatever, Caleb and Micah. These are we're posting these things online, and we're telling you how we doing this.
Yeah, they're excelling, man. They're actually too. They're in fact, they want Caleb and Micah, to be pushed up or test out and all these different things, man. And I remember I told you about your daughter. It happened to my nephew as well. I said, sometimes I get bored because the work is so easy. I had that problem in school too. I would get bored. I would think to myself, even as a young child, like, I don't understand why it's taking them all day for these other kids to get it. Because I'm like, well, this redundancy is ridiculous. But then you get mature, you realize everybody learn on the same page. And that's why they call them gifted, and they're separated from the others. But even if they're smart, like you're saying, man, what cultivates that is the self-control and the discipline that's being instilled with them based on some of the spankings that they're getting and receive. Right.
They have discipline, they have restraint, man. And then whooping saved my life. Whooping saved your life. And
absolutely.
Saved my kid's life. Another thing I thought about, man, on a lighter note,
what's that?
I thought about, because I looked at the picture, I was like, my son and my nephew and Caleb. How old is Caleb?
6.
Like, this is gonna be a long time friendship. Them dudes gonna be some fools, man.
Man, listen, man, it's gonna be a beautiful thing. It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
It's gonna be some problems, bro. We gonna have some problems.
Hey, I told you, man. I told you I got to set it up so we can do. I'm looking. I got to get more time so we can do a Father's thing.
For sure.
Just a father, we take our sons out, man, to Orlando somewhere and just let them enjoy fellowship.
I have an idea about that. I thought about it earlier today.
Okay.
So I'll call you and tell you about it. But bro, them three dudes, because we had to separate the other ones, like like Micah and Isaiah.
Yeah, it's just an age difference. Yeah.
But those three,
sure.
And being around the same age, because my nephew's 6.
Yeah.
No, my nephew's. No, he's 5. He'll be 6.
So they right there.
Right. 4, 5. Oh my, bro. Look, bro.
Your nephew will be 6 while Caleb is still 6.
Bro, they gonna be some fools, man. They could be some fools, man.
It's a beautiful thing. At least there'll be some intelligence. Hey, listen, I think they're gonna be some. You know what I like? And we get into like this, man. I like the fact that, and it's about a balance in life. We raised from the hood, man. Mm-hmm. We raised in, a substandard conditions. I wouldn't change it for the world. We spoke about it.
Right.
But I tell you what, man. And I give God the glory for it. And I thank God for the foundation, my mom, my father's, the parenting that they did, the spankings that saved our lives. And will continue. If a spanking don't save your life, if a spanking will save your life, not spanking your child could possibly end your child life.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And on the flip side, I thank God that because of that raising and that bringing up, I'm able to flourish in a Fortune 500 club with the presidents and CEOs of companies. I'm able to, and I have done this, have a conversation of intelligence with not millionaires, billionaires. Mm-hmm. I'm also able to go straight to the hood and fit in perfectly.
Right.
It's a beautiful balance, dude, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I don't want this hood to ever go nowhere. I just shut it down when it needs to be.
Right. All right, y'all, man. I got business late, man, but you got business nevertheless. See y'all next week.
All right, man. Peace out.